Hold up, did the internet just witness the fall of hip-hop royalty in real time? Because baby, this ain't a rumor, it's a full-blown meltdown, and the tea is hotter than hell's front porch. Chrissy didn't just shed a tear, she collapsed emotionally. Publicly, epically, after Camron dropped a leak so cold, so savage, it had Jim Jones packing his bags before the voicemail even finished playing. Are we talking about a messy breakup? Oh no. We're talking about betrayal, backroom secrets, and a love triangle that's been simmering since the early 2000s Harlem streets. And guess what? The streets are talking, the blogs are screaming, and Twitter has turned into a courtroom with zero chill. How does a woman go from ride or die to I never knew him? What exactly did Camron post that made Jim walk out without even finishing his drink? And why are brands, celebs, and even Mama Jones chiming in like it's a season finale of Love and Hip Hop scripted by Shonda Rhimes? One leaked voicemail, one damning clip, one relationship completely obliterated. This ain't just drama, it's history blowing up in 4K. Buckle up, because what you're about to hear might just change how you look at Chrissy forever. Let's start with the obvious. Chrissy never saw it coming. One minute she was glowing on a podcast talking about fresh starts and unshuckable love, and the next boom Camron detonates a time bomb so toxic it wiped her whole public image off the damn map. We're not talking about a messy tweet or a shady unfollow. We're talking about a full-blown nuclear leak, an old voicemail, blurry video footage, cryptic captions, and it all pointed to one thing: betrayal. Not the subtle, maybe she slid into his DM's kind. No, this was the ugly kind, the kind that had Jim Jones walking out mid-dinner like he was escaping a burning building. You could almost hear the screech of his chair. This wasn't just a bad night or a lover's quarrel, this was years of speculation finally snapping into place. The whispers that had haunted them for decades? They just got a megaphone. Chrissy, who spent years playing the role of loyal ride or die, the woman who literally proposed to Jim on national TV, the woman who fought, cried, and bled on Love and Hip Hop, now she's the headline for all the wrong reasons. And the worst part? It didn't start yesterday. According to sources that are suddenly very chatty, this whole thing has been bubbling under the surface since the Dipset glory days. Back when Cam and Jim were Harlem royalty and Chrissy was the girl in the middle of it all, glamorous, loud, passionate, and always within arm's reach of both. People used to joke that if Cam and Jim were Batman and Robin, Chrissy was Catwoman, always slipping in and out of the picture, always too close for comfort. And now, all those so-called harmless mixtape lyrics Cam dropped back in the day? They're sounding more like confessions. Let's talk about the voicemail because that's what started this digital earthquake. Cam posted it without warning, without context, just a black screen and an audio file. No music, no intro. Just Chrissy's voice, unmistakably emotional, whispering words that punched harder than any diss track. I feel like I gave everything to Jim and he still don't see me, she said. Then a pause. Sometimes I wish I had just stayed with you. Cue chaos. The internet didn't just react, they erupted. Fans were quoting it like scripture. Influencers dissected it like it was Watergate, and Twitter became a live crime scene. Everyone had a theory. Was it old? Was it staged? Was Cam telling the truth or just being petty? But before anyone could even decide, Jim Jones reacted in the most savage, heartbreaking way possible. He left. No tweet, no post, no cryptic lyrics. Just gone. Sources say he was in the middle of a private dinner with Chrissy, one where she was supposedly wearing a designer dress he picked out himself. And when his phone buzzed, he looked at the screen, listened to the voicemail, stood up and said 6 words. I can't do this no more. That was it. No yelling, no arguing. Just the sound of a chair sliding back and footsteps heading for the door. And Chrissy? Left frozen, tears welling up, surrounded by candles and empty wine glasses. One insider said she just sat there for 20 minutes in complete silence, clutching her phone like it was the weapon that destroyed her life. Because in a way, it was. And while she sat there unraveling, Cam was online dropping breadcrumbs like a man who had waited years for this moment. Something should have stayed between us, he tweeted. Between who, Cam? You and Chrissy? You and Jim? The entire internet started playing detective, pulling out old interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and blurry screenshots from 2007, trying to piece together a scandal that suddenly felt very, very real. One clip from an old Love and Hip Hop after show even showed Chrissy laughing a little too hard when Cam's name came up. Another had Cam joking, "That's my sister." But not really, and now fans are treating those moments like red flags they missed the first time. The timeline is murky, but what's clear is this: Cam didn't just drop a voicemail. He dropped a message. And Chrissy's reaction wasn't just sadness, it was devastation. She reportedly had a full-blown panic attack 2 days later during a branding meeting. One assistant said she couldn't breathe, couldn't speak, and had to be carried out of the room by her glam squad. Her team tried to spin it, calling it exhaustion. But the reality was raw. She'd been blindsided by someone she trusted, and now she was being torn apart by the same internet that once crowned her the queen of loyalty. Meanwhile, Jim didn't return to their home. He didn't return her calls. He didn't post a single word. And for a man known for responding to everything from trolls to tabloids, that silence hit harder than any diss track. But wait, it gets worse, because Cam wasn't done. He posted a second clip, this one not audio, but grainy footage of what looked like a hotel hallway. A man enters. Then Chrissy. 5 minutes later, the timestamp? From years ago, long before. The engagement talk, but deep into her relationship with Jim. No kissing. No touching, just implication. And that's all the internet needed. Theories exploded. Was Cam our backup plan? Was Jim the side piece all along? Did Chrissy play both sides of Dipset? A burner account even leaked an old DM. Allegedly from Cam to a gossip page months ago saying, "What if I told you Jim's girl was mine first?" It got ignored back then, not anymore, now it's gospel. People are dragging up old mixtape lyrics, tweets, even party photos. And every angle they uncover seems to prove one thing. This triangle wasn't just complicated, it was strategic. One blog went as far as to call Chrissy a calculated heartbreaker with industry connections and long-term secrets. Another labeled her the puppet master of Harlem's biggest fallouts. Harsh, sure, but the receipts? They're piling up. And Chrissy's silence isn't helping. She's gone dark on socials, vanished from events, and according to one stylist close to her camp, she's not even answering calls from her closest friends. She's heartbroken, the stylist said, but also terrified. She knows this isn't just a breakup, this is a takedown. And the scary part, this might just be the beginning. Because while the internet was losing its mind over the voicemail and hallway clip, one source whispered something that might shift the entire narrative. There's allegedly another recording, one that goes even deeper. And that's where things took an even darker turn, because if you thought that voicemail was damaging, what came next was nothing short of a public execution. Just when the buzz was starting to simmer down, Cameron Petty, Prince of Harlem, himself decided to set the internet on fire again. No warning. No filter, just a clip posted on his private story and instantly screen recorded by every gossip blog from here to Croatia. This time, it wasn't just Chrissy's voice. It was a full-on phone call. A recorded conversation allegedly between Chrissy and an unknown friend where she vents, not just about Jim, but about everything. The fame, the pressure, the secrets. And worst of all, she says the words that shattered what little trust Jim might have had left. "Cam's the only one who's ever really understood me. If things had gone differently, maybe he'd be the one wearing that ring." But it was it. That was the sentence that broke the internet's spine. Within seconds, Twitter had turned into a forensic lab. TikTok detectives were lip-reading, matching audio patterns, syncing it up with old interviews. And the verdict? Even people who once stood by Chrissy were now raising eyebrows. Because this wasn't just messy, it was intentional. It sounded real. It felt calculated. And the fact that it came from Cam's phone? Even more brutal. See, this wasn't just a leak. This was a slow drip, and Cam was squeezing every ounce of drama out of it like it was payback for every unsaid word from the Dipset fallout. Some say he was hurt. Others say he was strategic. Either way, he knew exactly what he was doing. And while the public watched Chrissy's world fall apart in high definition, Jim was nowhere to be found. One unconfirmed sighting placed him in Miami, holed up in a beachfront hotel with his phone on Do Not Disturb and his team pushing back all meetings. No press, no studio time, no contact with Chrissy, just silence. But the silence didn't last long, because then came the real bombshell, a series of alleged text screenshots, leaked anonymously, showing an exchange between Chrissy and Cam from years ago. We're talking heart emojis, inside jokes, late-night messages that no one would want their fiancé seeing. And the kicker? One message from Chrissy that read, "You always knew me better than he did." Cam replied, "That's why you always come back." Whether they were real or not didn't matter. The damage had already been done. The court of public opinion had already ruled. Suddenly, Chrissy went from being the heartbroken victim to the suspected mastermind. The woman who was once seen as the glue holding Jim together was now being called the force that pulled him apart. One viral tweet said, "Jim didn't dodge a bullet. He lived with it for 20 years. Savage, but people weren't just dragging her online, they were cutting ties offline too. A major fashion brand she recently partnered with quietly pulled her campaign. A luxury skincare line she endorsed wiped her off their socials overnight. The ripple effects were real. Sponsors were backing out. PR teams were scrambling. Her once bulletproof brand was bleeding out on the sidewalk. And all the while Cam was leaning into the chaos. He went live on Instagram playing Dipset classics with the caption, "Let the truth play out." He didn't say names. He didn't have to. Everyone already knew who he was talking about. And just when the live hit peak viewers, he held up a folder labeled "The Final Straw" and smirked. He didn't even open it. Just let the camera linger for a few seconds before ending the stream. That single moment turned the internet upside down. Blogs exploded. Theories multiplied. What was in that folder? Photos? Contracts? Receipts? Some speculated it was proof of money exchanged, favors owed, or even a secret agreement between Chrissy and Cam during a time when Jim was away on tour. No one knew. But the idea that more was coming was enough to keep everyone on edge. And through it all, Chrissy stayed silent. No statements. No denials. Not even a cryptic Instagram story. Just a black profile pic and radio silence. But behind the scenes, it was chaos. Sources close to her claimed she was breaking down. One friend even told a gossip site that Chrissy hadn't left her bedroom in days. She'd shut out her team, ignored her mother's calls, and kept replaying the voicemail like it was her own personal horror film. Makeup stains on pillows, broken wine glass on the floor. A house that used to echo with laughter now filled with crying and whispers of, "What have I done?" Meanwhile, Mona Scott, the queen of flipping real-life mess into TV gold, was allegedly making moves. One entertainment outlet claimed she was already in talks with editors to re-release old love and hip-hop footage with unseen clips, all conveniently timed to the current drama. Imagine that. A re-edit that drops just as Chrissy's life implodes. If that doesn't scream reality TV chess move, I don't know what does. But it wasn't just Mona. Mama Jones entered the chat too, and when Mama Jones talks, you better believe people listen. She went live on Facebook with no makeup, no filter, and no forgiveness. "I've been told y'all she was no good. Now you finally see what I saw," she said, pointing a perfectly manicured nail at the camera like she was delivering a sermon. The comment section, unhinged. People were quoting her like gospel, saying Mama Jones warned us all. She trended for 2 straight days with fans begging her to host a tell-all special. And while the internet laughed and reposted and speculated, Chrissy was falling apart. Her glam squad stopped showing up. Her assistants went quiet. The brand deals dried up. One hair care line even issued a formal statement, distancing themselves from the ongoing controversy. At this point, the scandal wasn't just social, it was financial, it was professional, and it was personal. And as all of this unfolded, Kim dropped one more clue. Not a post, not a leave. Just a comment under a random meme that said, "He should have listened when I told him she was dangerous." 10 words. That's all it took to restart the storm. Because now people weren't just questioning if Chrissy cheated, they were asking if she manipulated the entire Dipset empire from the inside out. Puppet master, power player, villain in a love story that spanned 2 decades. The internet was eating it up, and every minute she stayed quiet, the theories got louder, the accusations got uglier, and the line between truth and rumor blurred even more. And just when the internet thought it had seen the worst of it, the final blow came crashing down like a thunderclap in the middle of a storm no one was ready for. Camron returned once again, not with a leak this time, but with something far more chilling. A silent video, just 30 seconds long, posted on his story and instantly downloaded by every blogger with a pulse. The clip showed a grainy photo of Chrissy sitting close beside a man who was very much not Jim Jones. Her head leaning in, smile soft, body language unmistakably familiar. Then came the second image, a time-stamped security cam still of that. Same man entering a hotel room, Chrissy following 5 minutes later. He didn't say a word in the post, but he didn't have to. Twitter erupted, Instagram turned into a courtroom, and TikTokers wasted no time stitching theories together faster than Mona Scott could say, rolling. People weren't just shocked, they were enraged, betrayed, gleeful, depending on whose side they were on, because this wasn't just messy anymore. This was personal. The identity of the mystery man became a full-blown internet scavenger hunt. Some swore it was a top music exec. Others claimed it was a former rival of Jin's who had dissed him years ago. But the wildest theory of all? That it was an A-list. Actor Chrissy allegedly got close to during her brief time in LA. No names were confirmed, but it didn't matter. The implication was enough to send the entire narrative off a cliff. Jim, still silent, was spotted in New York at a booked club. Appearance alone, he didn't perform. Didn't speak. Just stood in the VIP corner, drink in hand, face unreadable, while the DJ spun Dipset classics like a tribute to a life that had just collapsed. And when We Fly High came on, the crowd started chanting something that made the whole club shift. Chrissy who? Chrissy who? Jim didn't react, didn't blink. Just closed his eyes, head tilted back like he was trying to forget every single thing that led to that moment. And back at Chrissy's hideout in the Hamptons, things were falling apart faster than her public image. Reports claimed she hadn't left the estate in days, was refusing to eat, and had to be monitored after a panic attack nearly sent her to the ER. A nurse allegedly told a tabloid that Chrissy kept repeating the same phrase over and over again, "He hates me. He'll never forgive me. It's over." The woman who once stormed through reality TV with unmatched confidence was now isolated, ashamed, and completely wrecked. And just when you'd think it couldn't get any more brutal, Mama Jones re-entered the scene with a vengeance. This time, she wasn't holding back. She went live once more, hair wrapped, voice fierce, calling Chrissy everything but a child of God. I begged my son not to trust her. I knew what she was. Y'all called me a hater. Now look. Her comments exploded. Supporters from all over praised her for being the only one who saw it coming. Meanwhile, enemies of Chrissy turned the live into a victory lap. And while Mama Jones basked in the glow of vindication, a new twist hit the blogs, a leaked voice memo. LLEGEDLY recorded by a former assistant of Mona Scott. We're a voice that sounds eerily like Chrissy says, Kim knows too much. I told him never to say a word. If he flips, I'm finished. Jim will never look at me the same. No confirmation, no denial. Just a clip that spread like wildfire, sending Reddit threads into overdrive and convincing fans everywhere that Chrissy had been orchestrating things behind the scenes for years. Comment sections turned brutal. Memes painted her as the queen of manipulation. One even said, Chrissy didn't lose the ring, she dodged perjury. And as if things weren't chaotic enough, a third party stepped into the spotlight. A blog, notorious for leaking court records and backdoor deals, dropped alleged texts between Chrissy and her legal team, where she reportedly asked, can we stop Cam legally or would that backfire? Another leak claimed she was in talks with her lawyers to issue cease and desist letters to every platform covering the scandal, but the internet had moved beyond fear. They were hungry. And now, Chrissy wasn't the sympathetic woman crying over her lost man. She was the calculated villain, the alleged manipulator, the one who burned bridges while smiling on camera. And the brands noticed. Fast. One fashion line she was scheduled to headline in the fall completely removed her from all promotional materials. Another company issued a statement demanding their $60,000 influencer advance be returned due to breach of trust. A jewelry brand that had positioned Chrissy as the face of their eternal love collection quietly scrubbed her images and replaced them with generic models. And still, she said nothing. Not even a Notes app apology. Not even a vague, I'm going through a lot right now tweet. Just complete and total silence. But Jim? He broke it. Sort of. Paparazzi caught him walking through Soho without his engagement ring. He didn't stop for photos. Didn't speak. But one photo showed him looking straight at the camera. Dead into the lens. No smile, no shades. Just eyes that looked like they had finally seen the truth. And that single image, that silent confirmation of everything, went viral in minutes. The blogs titled it, "The Look of a Man Who Finally Let Go." And Cam, never one to miss a moment, posted a final meme. A photo of a chessboard with one piece knocked over and the caption, "I tried to warn him. Love, don't pay attention." That was the last straw. The internet crowned Cam the king of petty, Jin the heartbroken warrior, and Chrissy the blueprint of betrayal. No apologies, no forgiveness, no resolution. Just chaos, consequences. And one hell of a cautionary tale. So now that the dust has settled, or at least shifted into a full-blown tornado, what do you think really went down behind the velvet? Ropes and tinted SUV windows? Was Chrissy caught in a twisted trap she didn't set, or was she the one holding the blueprint all along? Did Cam pull the ultimate revenge play, or was he just exposing truths that were always there, buried under years of loyalty and lies? And Jim, was he the final victim, or the only one brave enough to finally walk away? This story isn't just tea, it's lava, and it's still spilling. So don't just scroll past this mess like it's another Tuesday. Get in the comments and tell us what side you're on. Do you believe Chrissy? Do you think Cam went too far? Or are you team Jim should have left years ago? And if you want every shocking update, every explosive leak, and every unfiltered truth before it trends, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe and ring that bell. Because baby, if you thought this was wild, the next chapter might just make this one look tame. Stay locked in, we're just getting started.